I'm Dr. Bart Rademaker, and this is the Doctor's Guide podcast, Raw and Unfiltered. And if I'm a little raw today, it's because I got my two beautiful cats. They never hang out with me, but today they are. I'm going to let them join this podcast, and if you're lucky, you'll get to see them. One's called Happy, one's called Sparky, and you'll figure out why later on. But the Doctor's Guide podcast, Raw and Unfiltered, what is that? Well, the truth is that I've been in this health space for a very long time. I trained for 17 years. I've been a plastic and reconstructive for the last 25 and been on a mission of the last 20 years to make health optimization available, easily accessible and affordable for everyone. But part of what needs to happen is, how do we make the right decisions for ourselves? And today I like to tell people, and this might trigger you, and that is we no longer have an excuse to be sick. Because the information is out there, the resources are out there. All we have to do is tap into all that intelligence. But how do you decide what's right for you? So that's part of my job, curating the information out there and guiding you with the right choices. But you still have to make that decision yourself. And so rather than selling a product or a person, I'm selling you a process. And that's all for free, by the way. The process as to how do you navigate specific situations so that you can make the best decisions for yourself. And what's the best way to do that? Simply role playing. And that's what this podcast is all about. And so I've got these two awesome human beings, Don Campbell and Hendrickje. I don't know your last name, Hendrickje, but I'm going to have you introduce yourself in a moment. But what we're going to do is we're going to do some role playing. And so you can relate to this kind of situation. It may be personal to them, it may not. So no judgment there. The purpose is that you can connect with a real-time situation and understand how you might want to navigate it. Not with a specific step to take, but we will share with some insights and action steps that you can take for yourself. So it's about a 25-minute, total 30-minute, podcast for you today. I'm going to introduce them. We're going to do a 6-minute role play, and then we're just going to unpack afterwards. And so I know they're totally unprepared for all of this, so it's going to be super fun. What's going to come out of their mouths, including my own and maybe my cats as well. So first, Dawn, we go back way, way back. We used to work together. You did some amazing work in my med spa way back when. Who are you? And then we'll go to Hendrickje, and then we'll dive into you guys sharing what role are you going to play. So first, who are you, Dawn?
Well, you're right. We go way, way back. I started my esthetician career with you, and I can't believe that was almost 20 years ago. Oh my goodness, goes very fast.
That's how I got all the gray hairs, by the way. That's from 20 years ago.
Well, I learned a lot from you, that's for sure. And I learned a lot from seeing everyone through the transformation process, because with you doing plastic surgery, me doing aesthetics, I got to see all the different options out there. Now I currently own my own med spa and surgical center. And then I went and I expanded my career into lasers and nursing. So that way I could get into the arena of injections and lasers. And then, of course, the most important thing right now for me is I'm a mom of a little toddler girl who I love so much. So I'm balancing work and motherhood at the same time. But I love it. And I also did professional makeup for many, many years. That's how I know Hendrickje, who doesn't even need a last name. She's like Madonna. She only needs her first name. That's it. And we got to work together for a long time. So I've really got to see all areas of beauty. My mom's a hairstylist. My sister did nails. So I just am a beauty guru. I love beauty.
And beauty is such an important part as how we define ourselves. And oftentimes people are so critical. Why do you have to do this? Why do you have to do that? You know what? If it makes you feel good and you feel better about yourself, then why not? I will make one exclusion, full transparency. I almost strangled my 3 kids when they started getting their tattoos. But then I see this beautiful artwork on Hendrickje. Well, you know what? It's all cool and it's all right for them. The cool thing about my own daughter, she's got these really tiny, tiny tattoos. So you don't really see them. So she got off the hook. But my 2 boys, forget it. Anyhow, thank you for joining us, Dawn and Hendrickje. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's a delight to have you. So who are you and what do you do?
My name is Hendrickje. Last name is actually Ewen, which is Scottish, but my first name is Dutch. I've been a makeup artist this year will be 30 years. I actually went to school in England, and then as soon as I finished makeup school, I moved to the States, but and for a vacation and ended up staying here. My training's actually in everything from special effects makeup and then kind of self-taught beauty makeup, and then most recently got into permanent makeup, microblading and that kind of thing. So yes, tattoos kind of go along with this industry. It's okay for me to have them. So, and I love them, and I'm probably done at this point. So, but thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us today. And, what's so important for all of us, as I stated, is that, how we see ourselves is so important, how we feel. And I'm so excited that both of you are amazing experts in that field and helping people with their own transformation. And transformation happens in many ways. And that, again, is part of this podcast. So hopefully with a role playing, you'll be able to transform something that's bothering you in the life, because when you're stuck, you're not free. And this is about finding your freedom. So Dawn, what are the role that you're playing? And we'll go to Hendrickje.
So I'm playing the role as the beauty expert, the esthetician practitioner that Hendrickje is coming in today as a client to talk to me about the concerns that she has and her insecurities and what she wants to work on.
Great. Awesome. All right. And Hendrickje?
So as a client but also a beauty industry business owner, as I approach my mid 50s at the moment, obviously we're all trying to look younger, and many of my clients have the same issues as I do. I have a lot of over 40s and over 50s clients. So we're seeing a lot of Photoshopped.
Let's just go into role play. So let's
Okay.
go into the role play part so that people can relate to that. And then those things that you want to share, let's talk about them later. So let's go. We've got 6 minutes for role playing. Go for it.
Okay. I am here to talk about some healthy choices as far as beauty and how to look younger as I move into my 50s.
Well, I'm so glad that you came in today, and I'm glad that you came into an expert, because there's so much out there to choose from, and so many people make choices that maybe they regret later because they didn't go to an expert first. So let's talk first about, what is your goal? What are you trying to achieve in the beauty? How do you want to look and feel?
I want to look like, I want to look younger, but I also don't want to look fake. But I'm also mostly concerned about toxins and healthier choices in all of your products and what you can offer me, so that I can hormone disruptors. I read a lot about that, so kind of more of the healthy choices.
See, you're so great that you're informed now, because people don't realize that making those choices and getting products that have unhealthy ingredients can affect their health overall. So we can definitely talk about that. The first thing I always like to ask clients too is, what are you currently doing to help feel younger and refreshed?
Exercise, eating healthy, more exercise, more eating healthy. And I do try to look at ingredients in my products as much as possible. Kind of pick my battles with all of that, I think.
Are you doing anything for your skin right now? Are you getting any type of monthly treatments? Are you doing something once a year? What is your beauty regime plan for maintenance?
For maintenance, I try to do microneedling every couple of months, a laser every couple times a year, and stay out of the sun, sunscreen. That's pretty much my go-to regimen.
Well, that's excellent, because a lot of clients don't understand the importance of the laser aspect, because we also do fillers at my med spa, and I love fillers. We're going to talk about that. That's a nice quick little pick me up that clients like to get, especially in the 40s and 50s. It's a great time to start experimenting with the fillers and doing something natural, but laying a foundation of good skincare and using laser makes a big difference. But you're going to want to do those laser treatments, not just one a year. You want to do a series and then go on maintenance. So what's the last type of laser that you had?
Well, you can tell me more about that. I think it was the RF pixel laser.
Excellent.
That was
Excellent.
most recent.
So that's a wonderful treatment that's going to restructure the skin and resurface. A lot of people are calling it radiofrequency microneedling. And basically what it does is it creates little managed microchannels in the skin and stimulates new collagen. Because as we get older, we're losing the skin volume and we're also losing where our fat is distributed. So doing different types of treatments can make a big difference for both arenas. And then on top of that, we're losing muscle. So you've done something already to address the texture and the skin, but let's talk about addressing where the fat is deposited as well as where the muscles are. So there is a lot of treatments out there right now that will tighten up the muscle in the jawline. You have a beautiful jawline. So when I look at you, I'm thinking, okay, she just needs to have just a little tweaking. And that goes back to the natural part that you were talking about. You can always tell when people have too much filler, they have that pillowy face. Like if you were to pick a celebrity that you think looks great for her age, who would you pick?
Ooh. I think somebody like Jennifer Aniston. I think I read about her and not too much. She doesn't do a whole lot with her face, and I feel like she's, aging naturally.
Excellent. She's an excellent choice. She talks about the whole aspect of smart living on top of treatments, but she's talked about her facialist going in once a month for a good facial. Even though we talked about laser, we're talking about some of the more higher end services, you still have the foundation of hydrating your skin. I've been doing the Hydrofacial MD for almost 20 years now. Now a lot of clients get it done. It's not your regular steam and cream facials, but you have to feed the skin. Your skin is a sponge. So you want to focus on what you're putting on it. And their products are geared more towards the natural. They've taken a lot of their preservatives out of their products. Luna, I still use that product line. I love it because they have no parabens. You mentioned earlier about hormones and estrogen. Parabens can mimic estrogen, and a lot of the issues that women especially have with their hormone imbalances can be tied to their estrogen levels. Have you had
1 minute left, guys? 1 minute left.
Right. So what we want to do today is let's focus you back onto the foundation of doing a hydrofacial. Then I'm going to have you bring in your products when you get your first treatment. And then we're going to tweak with a little bit of laser, but do more of a series and some injectables just as the icing on the cake, because exactly like you said, Jennifer Aniston looks natural. She doesn't look overfilled. I think of Meryl Streep, her skin tone looks even. You don't want to look overfilled. You want to look natural. You still want to look like a mature, beautiful woman. You just don't want to see every little line and wrinkle. How does that sound?
That sounds amazing. And I can forward this to all of my clients as well. As I'm upfront and personal with them every single time I see them. So what they see in me, I can introduce to them as well.
And it's an investment, especially not just because you're in the beauty business. There is statistics that people who take care of themselves and look like they take care of themselves, they live a higher level quality life. So not only is it going to help your business that you're taking time to take care of yourself, it's also going to help your personal life as well.
Awesome, guys.
Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So let's start off with Hendrickje. What was that for you?
What was what? I'm sorry.
What was that role playing for you? What was the meaning behind that? Who were you playing, and why is that important for you?
I feel like so a 50-something-year-old in this day and age, and just seeing everything. There's so many choices out there, and I'm just glad that I've had Dawn all these years to kind of keep me right. And we're very conservative and very gradual with what we've done over the years, and and I get compliments on my skin all of the time. I'm 53, almost 54. And, I feel like my spiritual side is what everything kind of comes out. And I feel like that, also helps me to, feel more confident. And, we all have some insecurities, but the majority of women that I see on a daily basis have so many insecurities, and it's shocking. So it's nice to be able to take what I learned from Dawn to them.
Yeah, we're going to unpack a little bit about that as well in a moment. But first, Dawn, what was that for you? What was the most important message that you want people to know on that one?
Is just that, you know, if there is something that you want to work on or something that you want to enhance, that it's okay to take care of yourself. In fact, it's self-love is a beautiful thing. You know, take care of taking the guilt out of taking care of your temple is what I call it. You know, you're trying to juggle a lot of, like me, especially being a mom and giving to other people. It's good to go and do something for yourself to look and feel better as well. So I took that as my typical client who probably spent years focusing on being a mom or her career and didn't have time to take care of herself, and now wants to try to get back in feeling good about herself again.
Excellent. So as a plastic and reconstructive surgeon, and I've always been involved in beauty, you know, since my mother was very much involved with that growing up. And so I was exposed to a lot of that. And I think you're absolutely right, Dawn. I mean, when we're taking care of ourselves, you know, physically, which includes our beauty aspect, we feel so much better about ourselves, and our whole body is just going to physiologically be upgraded, if you will, and it's going to allow for more longevity. And that's so true, that as we're taking care of our bodies in all the aspects, then we're going to feel much better about ourselves, and we're just going to be that much more healthy. And then basically, as and Enrique was also saying, I have to get used to the Dutch pronunciation. I'm in the US right now, so you know, the Dutch, you know, have what's called a throat disease, you know, so Enrique is a little
Yeah.
challenging sometimes. But the point is this, is that we're social beings, and how we look, you know, affects our relationships. And
Mhm.
you can argue about it, you can be critical about it, you can be judgmental about it, but the truth is that it's there. And so, you know, for me, it's more about, okay, what do I accept? What do I tolerate? What do I fight? And what do I not? And so certain things you're just not going to change. So it doesn't matter. But ultimately, and that's the purpose of this podcast too, is just offering people different insights that you otherwise wouldn't hear from other people, because they're just not willing to share those insights. And it's totally okay, you know, to take care of your skin. It's totally okay to take care of your physique. The key is that you want to do it as naturally as possible. And I think both of you guys address that in a big way. So how do we do that, Dawn? I mean, how is it that we can do it most naturally, so that people can get the best, you know, outcome, just like you've been helping Enrique, by the way?
Well, you know, first of all, going back a little bit of what you just said is that I do, since we're primarily focusing on the 40s and the 50s, and they do tend to care more about looking natural and doing it more holistically, because they're much more aware of their lifespan. You know, they want to get the most out of life, and they're not in their 20s anymore. I do have clients who do come in that are in their 20s and 30s, and they sometimes don't always make the best beauty choices because they're kind of following what's happening on social media. So they don't care as much holistically, but I think that mindset is going to start to change more and more as someone gets older. So one of the first things is, you want to make sure that you're going somewhere that does know their ingredients and knows what they're using. You know, you want to go to an expert plastic surgeon, an expert makeup artist. Like, I know Hendrickje knows all of her products that are in her kit. You know, it's important what is being put on your skin, because your skin is a sponge, and that's going to go into your body, and that's going to affect your hormone receptors. I know this is a little more technical than we want to get, you know, more science, but the best choices is really read your ingredients. Make sure you go to an expert who knows their stuff and knows what they're using. And, you know, even if something is synthetically modified, like a lot of the fillers are, you know, finding the ones that are more natural, they're not permanent. All the fillers we use in our office are not permanent fillers, because the face and the body changes as we get older. So just being aware that if you do cross over into that medical aesthetics line, you can still stay in the safety zone where it's been FDA approved and you know the ingredients. And even though they're synthetic, they're modified to still be safe and not affect the body long term.
Sweet. And one thing that I think is critical is that you don't want long-term or permanent fillers, and we'll talk a little more about fillers in a moment if we have time. But natural is good. Hendrickje, what do you want to share? What do you like to tell people? What do you want them to know when it comes to guiding them in this area?
I think like Dawn said, definitely seek out an expert. Don't just follow trends. Don't look for that quick fix. Dawn and I talked about that before. The miracle cream, because, especially if you don't do your research, you're not looking into what's in the products, just to look, and the comparisons that people make with everything on social media these days. I mean, that's, people come to me with a Pinterest look, and they like, I want this natural makeup. And I was like, it's the furthest from natural that you can find. So I had educating your clients, just to know really what they're talking about and figuring out what they want. My investigation of each client is really important at the beginning of an appointment. So,
what's interesting is, beauty obviously is very subjective. And I think there's so many forces out there that's directing our thinking, our feeling, our beliefs and values in one direction or another, all for marketing purposes, right? All for money. And I don't remember which, I think it was a soap commercial where they shared the process by which you saw a model be completely transformed with the makeup and then the Photoshop and everything else, completely different. And so now we've got these unreal images that are impossible to emulate. When reality, that beauty is also inside and outside. And that's the one thing that we've always focused on, Dawn. And I know that you do too, Hendrickje. And that is, you got to work on the inside, but that's not only just physically and physiologically, but also that mental aspect that, allows us to grow up gracefully. And what I mean by gracefully is you don't have to tolerate stuff. I mean, you accept certain things, but you do everything you can to optimize you. And why not? So many people are critical of that. And I say, no, I mean, that's part of improving ourselves. And if you're improving yourself in one area, more than likely you're improving yourself in other areas. But it comes to nutrition and physical exercise and all these different things. So anything else that you'd like to share, Dawn? We're going to wrap it up shortly. I want people to find out, how they get a hold of you, Dawn, and what your particular specialties are, and a final comment that you want to share with the listeners.
So it's all about balance. You're making time for yourself. Now, if you're not paying your rent or your car payment, you might be having your priorities out of whack a little and getting your lip filler. You do have to find that balance of taking care of yourself and still also contributing to others. And that's what we specialize. The name of the spa is Enlighten. It's all about enlightening and educating and sharing. And, yes, sometimes the beauty part starts with the beauty and the outside, but then that beauty continues on the inside as people start to feel better about themselves. So, biggest thing is don't make poor choices. I see all these things on social media where, like Hendrickje said, they make these quick choices of, oh, I'm going to go and get that done. Or they try to order it and do it themselves. Oh my goodness, that's so scary, but it does happen. I have had the botch situations come in where they tried to do it on their own, or they went to somebody who was doing it out of a garage. Like, you really buyer beware. Things can happen. Go to a reputable place and make sure that they get to know your face and body, and then they get to know you and they know how to be the best expert for you to help you through your transformation throughout life as a lifespan coach, but a beauty coach.
Great. And how do people find you?
Oh, you can find us on enlightenmedspa.com. We're located in sunny Orlando. So if anyone wants to come see Mickey Mouse at the same time they come in and visit us, it'd be great. And they can text us or call us straight through that website. And they can also find us on our Instagram, which is Enlightened Skin and Body and Surgical Suite.
Awesome. Thank you. Hendrickje, final words, and how do people find you?
Final words, I like women to feel, and men, sometimes they come in, empowered by, choices that they make in the beauty industry and everything like that. And I'm here to help people find that track if they so need some help. And I have an Instagram. I have a business in Tampa, on Kennedy, which is pretty central in Tampa, but my Instagram is Hendrickje Beauty and PMU, which is permanent makeup. And so, anything from makeup to eyebrows, lip tattooing, eyeliner, that kind of thing. So I'm out there to be found on social media.
Oh, very nice. Thank you. So one of the best decisions Dawn made was join me in my practice many, many years ago. And then even a better decision was when she left. And so to have her own spot, because I'm super proud of what you've accomplished in such a beautiful way. You're probably the best makeup artist and esthetician that I've met.
Hendrickje beats me on that one.
Now meet Enrique, so I may have to change that. But you're both beautiful souls. And I just want to wrap it up by saying, look, we all deserve to define our outside the way our inside sees it. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing it. But the most important thing I feel is that, how do we harness the potential of the body to restore form and function? So how do we harness the potential of the body to have the most beautiful outside that you can have? And all these things out there, they actually are very destructive in so many different ways. And too often I feel, and I can say this, full transparency, being a plastic surgeon, fully trained, in plastic surgery, like a real plastic surgeon was trained in the past. It's no longer like this. And a lot of people are out there pretending to be plastic surgeons or cosmetic surgeons. A cosmetic surgeon is not the same as a plastic surgeon, by the way. But people come to me, and the first thing I try to do is see how we can avoid surgery. Because surgery is a dramatic shift in everything in the body, physically, mentally, emotionally, and also structurally and energetically. And so, my focus was always, for example, which was great, and I learned a lot from Dawn, was when we look at the face, there's 50 different elements that we look at ourselves unconsciously that suggest that we look old. And people are trying to do that quick fix with a bit of filler, which doesn't really address all the other things. And so maintaining healthy skin and then potentially putting the accents, with permanent makeup will make a huge difference versus doing all those crazy fillers and other things, other toxins in the body. And so so the question that I was wanting both of you to answer, but I think I'm going to answer for you, is because you brought it up twice, is you got to find a reputable person. And so, that's a challenge. How do you do that? How do you find that? Well, obviously you look at reviews, but ultimately, you got to check in with yourself and find out, is this person being really authentic with me? Are they taking the time with me? Do they really care about me and my outcomes versus wanting to sell you everything in the kitchen sink? And so oftentimes I would see patients that went somewhere else and they were sold a whole bunch of goods, and when they only came in for one thing. So I did the opposite. I try to, push something away. And then if somebody is committed enough to do something, then I would allow them to have that surgery or that procedure. But you ultimately have to make a choice. And I've seen many people, as Dawn was suggesting as well, make bad choices for themselves. And that's really unfortunate, because you make that bad choice and sometimes it's just not reversible. And so check in with yourself, check in with your heart. Do not be in a rush to make these decisions. Don't get that quick fix. Take your time, ask all the questions, and then ask some more. Last words again, Dawn, Enrique, anything else you want to share that I haven't said?
I think you did an excellent job. One of the things I was going to say also with makeup, going into the makeup world, you talk about poor choices with makeup, especially doing permanent makeup. That is an art form. You do not want to just go to anyone. She's excellent at eyebrows. In fact, I need a little tweaking. I need you to take care of me next time you're here in sunny Orlando. But it's not just the more dramatic things. It's the same thing with makeup and that personal relationship. Hendrickje, you have people who have come to you, gosh, how many years have you had clients that are your personal makeup artists?
20 years, probably 15, 20. Yeah, definitely.
So when you find the right person, you stick with them forever.
Definitely.
Well, I'm Dr. Bart
Thank
Rademaker, and this is the Doctor's Guide podcast, raw and unfiltered, helping you navigate the complexity of the world around us to find our beauty, to find our health, and everything else in between. come back again, and we will have more with Dawn and Hendrickje. Thank you so much.